Caltrop is an area denial weapon designed to stop the enemy. The Caltrop is a sturdy, simple, yet effective weapon no matter its position. Its purpose was originally designed to stop elephant and donkey attacks. It graduated to stopping tanks. And now, the Caltrop is your defense against propaganda, polished lies, and manufactured outrage. It's free from counterfeit credibility and synthetic truth. However, inside the walls of the Caltrop, you're going to be forced to think. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop.
Coming down the mountain from the heaven to the hell, the Mike Calderese, the Caltrop, he never stops, so ring the bell. He bring the facts, he's been up every morning till we sleep. He get it deep, Mike Calderese, in your head and in your sheets. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the Caltrop.
Good evening and welcome to the Caltrop on a fantastic Friday night. It's been an awesome week, man. You know, my week has been hard as fuck. I'm not gonna bullshit anybody. Running into 8 inches worth of concrete, having to cut something twice. You know, when you run into surprise concrete, I said to my buddy today, I said, you know what, this is why I'd be a good mayor, because every day it's about solving problems. Every day it's about overcoming adversity. And let me tell you something. I've had one of those weeks. I'm having one of these jobs that, you know, there's one job a year for me, maybe sometimes two, where it just seems like everything's going wrong. No matter what you do, it's always harder. Everything's fighting you. Things break, machine breaks, equipment breaks. And believe me, on this job, I've had everything break. From my demo saw to my trailer to my Bobcat, you know, and everything every order been wrong. This is one of those jobs, and it's crazy because they're some of my favorite people on the planet. But it's jobs like these where, you know, you have to keep smiling and moving forward and realizing that you still are making progress. You know, it may seem like you're not going anywhere sometimes. It may seem like you're a duck on the water and you're just paddling and, you know, you're kicking your feet fast, but the current's taking you, and you're kicking your feet just as fast. The current's moving you back, and you're not going anywhere. But you actually are making progress. And today I'm going to highlight something. I have a couple things that I want to play as far as the Jackson Council meeting. You know, your boy got recognized a couple times. I have a new friend. We're going to talk about that. But there's a question that an Orthodox girl asked, and she got up there and she did a really good job of speaking. And then she asked a very interesting question, and then something happened afterwards that we're gonna talk about. And then Chris Pollak, of course, had a great answer. But what I've noticed going on, if you guys haven't noticed at home, is that we're making a difference. And I want to keep highlighting this, but I want to highlight tonight 3 specific individuals, and those 3 are, you know, like I asked Paul Kenitra to come on the show and talk about his immigration stuff. He said, no, it's always a shit show. And the last time he came on, it wasn't a shit show at all. Matter of fact, I had his comments when he referenced something. I had videos to hit on what he referenced. It was actually one of the best well done things I've ever done. It was for Paul. But he said it was a shit show because I've been talking about him a little bit. But the reason why I bring him up is because I asked him to come on. And he told me that I was creating factions that he didn't want to align himself with. That's his words. And I told him the only faction that I'm aligned myself so far has been 3 people. Right? 3 people, to me, hold exactly what I want to see happen in a manner of which I think it can be achieved. And that's Chris Pollak, that's Joe Bizonos, and I'd say that's Mrs. Teacher, New Jersey. Okay. And the 3 people that I'm going to reference today are the 3 that have really been fighting. Mrs. Teacher, New Jersey is great at educating you and giving us the weapons and teaching us really what's going on. But us three have been on the front lines, and we've been speaking, and we'll be going. And Chris, he's the one that got himself elected, and he's there, and he's making change, and that's what the Mike's Right's going to be about. It's going to be that we can do this, guys, and I want everybody to start beating that in their heads, because I can't stand the defeatist attitudes that we have really across the country, because you hear it all the time. America's done. America's finished. What we can't do. You know, everyone wants to talk about what they can't do. My dad always told me, said, never say can't. Say can. Think about what you can do. And I got to tell you something. We're gonna be talking about that as a little bit. So let's not waste any time. And of course, we have my man Rick Pedia. Rick Pedia is going to be here to discuss it all with you. And you guys, this is a question and answer show. Really, I don't have much planned, guys. It's a long week. I don't have a lot of videos. I have a couple videos set up, but I don't have a lot planned. It's going to be a real discussion between me, Rick Pedia. Rick Pedia could ask whatever he wants. You guys could ask whatever you want about. I would say 8:35, 8:40ish. I'm going to open up the phone lines. So put your questions in the comments. You could call in with your questions and finger the fuck out of my like button. But let's get the show started with the Mike's Right. Shut the fuck up and listen. You know what? I got a drink. I forgot to hit the monitor prompter. All right. You know what they always tell you guys? You can't fight City Hall. I mean, you've heard that your entire life. You can't fight City Hall. You can't fight the government. You can't change the system, and you can't get them to listen, and you certainly can't make a difference by yourself. And I'm here to say that's all bullshit, because apparently you can. And we've got 3 fucking idiots proving it. Now, I want to do something a little bit different. We're going to be celebrating tonight. And not because everything's fixed. It isn't. Not because government suddenly just became perfect. It's like, Jesus Christ, let's not get crazy. But because something is happening. We're winning some battles. And I think sometimes we get so focused on what's wrong that we forgot to stop for a second and recognize what's going right. So let's talk about 3 guys. 3 guys who didn't have a political machine, didn't have millions of dollars, didn't have a staff of 20 people, didn't have a government title. Well, one of them does. We basically had an opinion, a microphone, and apparently way too much free time. And somehow things changed. Let's start with Chris Pollak. Look at what's happened in that room since he's got in there. Seriously, look at it. Go back a few months and then watch those council meetings, then watch them today. That room is completely different. The tone is different by everybody. The conversations are different. The questions different. The energy is different. And Chris has brought up a multiple of issues that are now moving forward. But here's my favorite part. They're starting to sound like Chris. I'm serious. You ever hear somebody say something so many times that eventually everyone starts repeating it? That's what's happening. Chris walks in a council meeting and starts talking about something. A few months later, everybody's talking about it. And I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute. Is Chris contagious? Because I'm watching elected officials basically become Chris Pollak fan fiction. Chris brings up an issue. Then somebody else brings it up. Then somebody else brings it up. They all agree. Pretty soon, I'm waiting for the mayor to walk up to the microphone and say, ladies and gentlemen, as Chris Pollak has repeatedly stated, Chris has become a fucking talking point. That's a victory. Because the goal was never to make Chris famous. The goal was to make government listen. And they're listening. Then there's Joe Bizonos and Howell. Joe just doesn't complain. That's the difference. Joe doesn't just show up and say, this sucks. Joe shows up and says, here's a problem, here's a solution, here's an ordinance to fix it. That's a completely different level of citizen involvement. And multiple things Joe has pushed for is actually passed in Howell, but it doesn't stop there, because Joe's work outside government has started showing up inside other governments. Jackson is looking at his work. People are talking about his ideas. They're copying them. Jackson named an ordinance after the guy, and then it was unanimously approved. Let that sink in. A regular city citizen from a different town gets an ordinance named after him, and everyone votes yes. That's not activism. That's fucking stud behavior. And Joe is proving something really important. You don't have to hold office to create policy. You don't need a government title to bring government solutions. And sometimes the person outside the building has a better idea than a person inside. And then there's me. I've had quite the journey. I've gone from local guy asking questions to Hitler. So that's nice. Mom would be so proud. I've always wanted to accomplish something in life like that. I didn't realize being compared to history's greatest monster was going to be on my resume. But here's the funniest part. Strip away all the labels they call me. Forget what people say about me online. Forget what people think about me. Look at what's actually happening. Issues have gotten attention. Tyler Oliveira featured a story on a world stage, our story. Government spending has gotten attention. DPW pay has gotten attention. Overdevelopment projects have been gotten attention, challenged, and stopped. Town issues have gotten resolved. People who weren't talking about things are now talking. People who weren't asking questions are now asking questions. And governments are responding. They're changing course. They're changing their fucking tones. They're backpedaling. They're listening and reacting to us. And that's the part I want people to understand. This isn't about me. This isn't about Chris. And this isn't about Joe. It's about what happens when ordinary people decide they're not going to sit on the sidelines anymore. Because the three of us aren't superheroes. We're not political geniuses. We're not some secret cabal running Ocean County in our basement. Although that would be pretty fucking cool. We're three people who basically looked at government and said, no, we're not doing this anymore. And instead of just bitching about it, we pushed. We asked questions, challenged things, proposed things, showed up and spoke. And then we kept showing up and kept showing up. And then something incredible started happening. Government started reacting. Now, here's what gets really interesting. Because we're not just seeing changes inside government, we're seeing changes outside of it. Communities are starting to talk. People are speaking openly. People who couldn't stand each other are starting conversations. And buried underneath all the political bullshit, people are starting to look for common ground. And maybe that's the biggest victory of all. Because think about where we were 2 years ago. Seriously. Imagine telling us 2 years ago that three regular guys would start pushing local governments and we'd actually see changes. Nobody would have believed it. It was all doom and gloom. Nothing ever changes. Politicians don't listen. It's all corrupt. There's nothing you can do. And you can't fight City Hall. And maybe that's the biggest lie we've ever been taught. Because City Hall isn't some giant monster. It's people. Government is people. And when enough people start paying attention, asking questions, showing up, and demanding better, people inside City Hall have a choice. They can ignore you, or they can listen. And apparently, listening works for the people. So now I want to ask you all something. What if it wasn't three of us? What if it were 30? What if it were 300, 3,000, 300,000? What if every town had 5 or 10 people who cared enough to show up? Not people looking for a fight, not people looking to destroy somebody or looking to become famous. Just people who said, I live here, I pay taxes here, my kids live here, and I give a damn about what happens. Imagine that. Imagine every council meeting having citizens who actually know what's on the agenda. Imagine people reading ordinances, asking questions, bringing up solutions instead of just complaints. Imagine neighborhoods or neighbors talking to each other. People who disagree sitting at the same table and saying, okay, we don't agree on everything, but what can we agree on? Holy shit. What a fucking radical concept. And that's where you come in. Because this isn't a story about three guys. It's an invitation. Get involved. Go to the meeting. Read the budget. Ask questions. Call me. Call your councilman. Bring a solution. Help your neighbor. Start a conversation. And if you claim you want the same things that we do or I do, join us to help build it. And if anyone tells you you can't fight City Hall, you could smile. Because we've already proven that's bullshit. You don't have to change the entire world tomorrow. You don't have to fix every problem. You don't have to win every argument. You just have to win the next battle. One issue, one meeting, one conversation, one ordinance, and one community at a time. Because that's how change actually happens. Not with some fucking magical revolution. It happens when regular people stop believing they're powerless. Chris did it. Joe did it. I've done it. Now, it's your turn. So tonight, I'm not here to tell you everything's fucked. I'm here to tell you something way more dangerous. It can actually get better, everyone. And we've seen it. We watched it happen. 3 people pushed. 3 people refused to shut up. And suddenly people started listening. So imagine if there was more of us. You know, one person can't change everything, but one person could change something. And 3 people could change more. And 100 people? Well, I don't know, maybe City Hall and your government better start taking notes because we're not going anywhere, and neither should you. That's the lesson. Don't give up. Don't surrender your voice. Don't assume nothing could change. Show up, speak up, get involved, and for the love of God, stop letting people convince you that you're powerless, because you're not. We're proving it. 3 idiots taking turns at a microphone, one at a time, has changed local government in Ocean County. That's the Mike's Right. Hope you listened. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's bring my man Rick Pedia to the stage. What's up, kid? How are you, buddy?
Man, that was really unexpected and inspiring. I'm not even bullshitting. That was awesome. You got to clip that. That was great. That was great, dude.
Yeah, if you thought that speech was great, your speech was great, go ahead and finger blast. It's Friday, finger blast Friday.
Please,
finger blast my fucking like button. Let's go and share this.
Nah, man, that message needs to be shared for sure.
Yeah,
that's the whole game, man.
What'd you think about it? What do you think overall of you know what I'm saying with what I was saying? You are obviously an Ocean County person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about that?
Okay. I think the main point is that the people have been subdued and tricked into believing that they are powerless. It's so common. If you bring up anything important, people are like, oh, it's just the way it is. Or, oh, what can I do about it? And you guys have literally proven, just called out that bullshit. It's going to take a while to reverse the programming to get people to actually re-believe in themselves, but it takes actual proof. It takes evidence of our peers just going for it, just saying, fuck it, I'm not with this, and I'm going to speak up about it. Or there's a better way to do this, and I'm going to say something about it. People are too scared to express themselves, or too powerless to even like have the motivation to. And you guys are that's righteous, man. Honestly.
Dude, I love it, and I want to talk to you about something. So we're gonna play a little bit of the Jackson Council meeting, and then we'll get right to your questions. All right, guys. Let's play this because this is something I want to start this conversation off like this, because there was an Orthodox Jewish woman who approached the I guess you call it the lectern that they have there, because they got rid of their podium. The podium's still not there. It's funny because it was a big mystery at Jackson. It's like, where'd the podium go, you fucking assholes? You took it from us. And you gave us a lectern. I don't even think that was a podium. I think that was a lectern too. But so I have 3 different things, and I'm going to call her Xena Jewish Warrior. Okay, and I'm giving I want everybody to understand that that's a endearing name. That's not to break her balls, because I think it cost. I think what she did was she got up there and she spoke very good. And again, it does take a lot of balls to get up there and do this type of stuff, especially when you might not be comfortable with doing this. But I have 3 separate videos of hers, and then I have Chris Pollak's response. And I think his response was so perfect that I think it needs to be played really in its entirety today. And I try to limit what I play of Chris, because I don't want to come off like a Chris Homer. But I think what he did there yesterday, his message is the same thing. It's one of positivity, and I think I think that's something that people are missing, man. We are not, he's not trying to fight anybody. He's trying to fight for us. It's not a person. It's for a town, and I think that's what's missing. But check this out. This is Xena Jewish Warrior, and we have 3 of these. So this is the first one.
T-shirts. Fight for Jackson. And every time I see them, I wonder, fighting whom? Are we fighting over development, traffic, zoning, infrastructure, quality of life? Because those are conversations we can definitely have. Or are we fighting people? Are we fighting Jews? Are we fighting the Orthodox community simply because they're here? Because there are plenty of issues we don't have to fight each other on. In fact, you might be surprised how much we agree on many of them. As an Orthodox resident, I can tell you that I and many of my friends don't want overdevelopment either. We moved to Jackson for a reason. We don't.
Okay, so what'd you hear about that? What is fight for Jackson? Let me ask you a question. What do you view Jackson, what did you view their fight as? And this is where I think people get this mistaken because we have these labels being thrown around, and they're so quick to throw around the label. That's all they believe. They only believe the label that they give you, and they don't hear what you're actually saying. Because to me, what Fight for Jackson has been and always will be was stopping the things that she spoke about. Stopping overdevelopment, stopping crowding, stopping, all of that stuff that has been taking place in Jackson. That's exactly what it's been. It's never been about a group of people. And the fact that that's even a question shows that there's more to this. But what's your thoughts on that?
That's valid, man. A lot of our country's been kind of turned into a strip mall, or a series of strip malls, and Jackson's really nice. The thing that people think of and talk about first with Jackson about how, oh yeah, it's kind of out there. It's more like Garden State, It has a nicer sky, less light pollution, more quiet. That's kind of that definitely needs to be preserved. I'll totally agree.
So, but did you hear it again? This is an Orthodox woman. She's asking Chris Pollak, what is Fight for Jackson? And then she gave a ringing endorsement that she should be supporting Fight for Jackson. You understand?
Yeah, it's not against that blanket term is not fighting a group of people. It's fighting for like the soul of the history of the place,
Yeah, and it's fighting for everything that she said that she would support. All the stopping overdevelopment. She said she doesn't want crowded streets and all this other stuff. Let's listen to this. This is Xena too. This is what got me. This is what starts getting me like going though when she starts saying this type of stuff. And listen, 22 seconds.
We don't want 20 cars lined up on residential streets. We love the open, clean, manicured spaces that made Jackson beautiful in the first place. We understand that moving into a community means treating that community and its residents and their legacy and their heritage with respect. And we don't believe that any group, including our own, should behave as though they are better than anyone else or above the law. That is not an Orthodox value, and it certainly is not an American one.
Okay, so what'd you hear there? We do not want 20 cars parked on a street either. And then this is the problem, I think, that has to be, the divide has to be bridged between these people. And this is why I say things how I have to say them, because I think things are getting missed, okay? When she says, are you fighting against the Jewish community? Well, is the Jewish community as a whole doing the things that are concerning everybody, even members of the Jewish community, right? So is the Jewish community bringing in overdevelopment? Those are the people that are most of this development is for. You look at Lakewood, that is overdevelopment 101, and that is the Jewish community doing it, right? So then when you say, okay, we don't want 20 cars parked in front of a residential neighborhood. Well, why are you doing it? That's not Christians doing that shit. That's not anybody else. That's specifically your group. So if you don't want it happening, stop doing it. Right? So if these are if these are things that we really want, we have to understand that, listen, because if we are going to really stop the things that you say you want to stop, then everybody should be working with me to stop it, even if it's against your side, because it's your side bringing a lot of this stuff. Do you see what I'm saying, bro?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, when I heard the 20 cars lined up, the first thing I think of, not even because I've been living here for almost 5 years now, but the first thing I think of is just Lakewood, New Jersey, man. It's just like the certain days of the week where you just can't go to that area, otherwise you're gonna be late for whatever you're doing. And no one wants that, especially a community that has never tasted that, in its existence. So, and then I see what you're saying, because in the first clip, when she's brought up the overdevelopment as non-desirable, there were people clapping all around the audience, including a few Jewish men. So it's kind of like, well, you got to do what you say here. If you really support it, you got to do it too.
See, I love what you just said there. And I'm going to be asking a question. Do we think that she's genuine in what she's saying? Do we think she's genuine? And it takes someone that it takes a group and people that are willing to actually do, like what you said, do what you say. And my problem is, I think you're full of shit until you prove me otherwise. Okay. And this isn't for just one group of people or other. This is standard across the board. You're a jerk off until you prove to me you're not a jerk off, especially if you're a politician. You start a jerk off unless you come up and say, hey, are you that guy? I really love your page. Then you're not a jerk off. Then you're instantly the best person on the planet. You know what I'm saying? But
I was finger blasting that like.
oh, if you think I finger blasted the shit out of your like button. If you do that to me, I'm buying you a beer in any bar. I don't care. Shit, where was I going, Rickpedia? Where was I going?
We were saying how there seems to be a stark contradiction in what is being said, and is it really intentional, or is it just being said to kind of like sound nice?
Yeah. So listen. So let's do this because I want to play two things back to back. One is a minute long, but she asks a very interesting question here, and I want to answer it together with everybody. I want to answer it together, and then I want to show you what happened immediately afterwards, which screams to me the disingenuous part of the entire speech. And the speech was awesome, but let's start here.
It can be sad without someone being to blame. No one forces anybody to sell their homes or their businesses. And at the same time, those of us who are newer to Jackson need to understand something too. There are families here who have lived in Jackson for generations. They have memories here, they have traditions here, and they remember a town that looked and felt very different. Watching that change rapidly can be difficult, and acknowledging that doesn't make someone anti-Semitic. But change also does not give permission to anyone to dehumanize the people who are now their neighbors. That is where I believe we have to meet in the middle. You don't have to dress like me, you don't have to worship like me, and you don't have to agree with me on every zoning application or development project. You don't even have to like every change happening in Jackson, but we do have to recognize each other as neighbors. The beauty of this country is that people of different religions, ethnicities, and backgrounds can live alongside one another. Jackson is changing, and we aren't going to undo that. So instead of asking how we fight for Jackson, maybe we should start asking a different question. How do we build Jackson that still feels like a home to the people who have been here for generations, and also feels like home to the families raising their children here now? Because neither community is going anywhere. And I would much rather figure out how to live together than teach our children how to hate each other. Thank you.
All right. So what did you think of that?
Well, the speech did good at plucking some heartstrings, and trying to be seemingly is finding middle ground and common ground. Something that stood out to me was when she said, like, none of us are making people like move or sell their businesses, but that kind of seems to happen. It seems to be a part of the pattern from the area. So it's kind of funny that she would say that, because maybe it hasn't happened that much yet, or even at all yet, but that is something that's like the elephant in the room. It's like she said the quiet part out loud. It's almost like, well, no one's done that yet, but I mean, isn't that par for the course? That's something that stood out to me.
Yeah.
And something else that stood out was, see, she brought the kids in. We don't want to teach our kids to hate each other. The problem is that community is not teaching their kids to love each other either. They're teaching that they're separate from everyone else, and they remain mostly separate's a nice way of putting it, man. Separate sugarcoating way of putting it.
Separate sugarcoating, you're right, but the separation, the thing that I don't like about it is a lot of what they do is compared to the non-Jewish. So they look at and said, that's what they do, we don't do that. That's what they do, we don't do that. And that's where I think the divide is, because their kids definitely pick up on that. And then there is a divide inside these kids. The kids would play together, but you see they don't, and they don't for a reason, because they feel there's obvious tension that's being pushed from the adults onto the kids, and the kids can feel it too. And if you're growing up in a religion where it's like, hey, they're doing things wrong and you have to do things right. If you're a kid, you're going to be thinking they're pieces of shit. That's natural kid behavior. We break each other's balls. Kids see a kid that's handicapped and naturally make fun of him and pick on him. I don't know what it's about, but they do. Like, that's something that kids definitely do. Some are nice, but kids pick on other kids for a lot of mundane reasons. But let's do this, bro, because I want to answer a question. How do we build a community in Jackson for everyone? Where do you think that starts, bro? And put your comments in the chat, and I'll get to them in a minute.
Well, I mean, it would start by putting aside petty differences and instead of thinking about differences, it would be kind of feeling through similarities and then finding that common ground, getting to know your neighbors and working with them in various ways. I mean, the problem is that even forget about religious groups or ethnic groups aside, like the general programming from the society is kind of does a really good job of pointing out our differences and making us kind of emphasize it. So that right there like causes divide among people, and then when you add in, like, oh well, we're from this country, so we don't really talk to them, or we do this religion, so we don't really deal with them. That just makes it even worse. And I mean, kids are the future. Kids are everything. You brought it up. It's funny how you said like kids will point out like a handicap. Kids will point out a difference. A lot of them innocently will just kind of question it. Like my daughter and I were at a playground one time. There was a man with an amputee. He had a prosthetic leg, and she said, "Hey, why does he have a robot leg?" She wasn't like trying to be mean. She was just like questioning. So when kids ask questions, as they should, to make things better, to make things more coexistent, there should be more transparency, openness, and connection instead of division and nitpicking apart what's the main differences are. That's the start.
And I like what you said. Meet in the middle. There should be compromise. I think it starts with the group of people that have all the special needs. I think they have to start compromising their special needs for the good of everybody else. Okay. Just a little bit, man, because, when you look at what everybody else in this area has done, we've compromised enough. You're right. You have to have situations where people aren't forced out. Like you said before, everyone moves, everyone sells. Well, they sell for specific reasons, right? So if you have kosher superstores, and now they have a couple aisles of non-kosher product or one little section that caters to non-kosher individuals, I think that would go a long way. It's a very simple, easy thing to do. It'll go a long way for people feeling comfortable. And then guess what? I don't understand why these supermarkets don't want to cater to everybody in the community. Why is it that a new supermarket comes in and only caters to one group of people? It doesn't make any sense to me. So you do simple things like that. You say, hey, listen, if you're going to be a supermarket in this town, you have to cater to everybody in the town. And then you have to have, the problem is, if we live a certain way, your presence cannot eliminate the way we live. And I think the thing that everybody misses is other people's presence negatively affect the way everybody else lives. Yeah. And the reasons why they negatively affect them, it's simply because of how they don't line up in any way, shape, or form. Bar wise, a lot of non-Jewish men like going to a bar. We get something to eat. We have a couple beers. We bullshit with our friends. Those start leaving. Now we don't have that. Then you don't have your clothing store because then it starts catering to one community. So now you can't get shorts and t-shirts, and now you're going to Target and Walmart and spend your money on all these big areas. Your pizzeria goes out because it doesn't serve kosher pizza, and the next thing you know, you have a different pizzeria there, right? You start losing everything, and what's left for you. So when they say no one's being forced out, you are being forced out, because when nothing is left for you in the way you live, what are you there for? Just the house? When you're surrounded by people that you hear stories of being treated good and being treated bad. It goes both ways. Everyone has a jerk off neighbor with everything. So it's just that. I think that's a start, man. I think the start really has to be one community cannot ostracize the other community with how they live. It cannot. It's a take
with how they spend money for sure. That's you hit the nail on the head, because the way that we do things, the way that we get used to our community is the reason why we want to be there. So it's like you don't have to go and like outbid somebody or like try to buy them out. But if you have a house that hosts 20 cars parked on the street, it's just as bad as the house, of the people living in a college town and they got like a couple of crazy guys in a trap house that throw parties all the time and are causing that kind of a ruckus or interruption.
Traffic, you have kids playing on streets. A lot of these cars some of these people come in, they're in a rush, they go ripping past kids, they're driving way too fast in neighborhoods. It's one problem after the next, after the next, after the next. Let's get to some comments here, man. Amen Disker says, "What's up, Mike? I love it." Justin says, "Come on, Paul." I don't know what that means, buddy. Who's Paul? Come on, Paul. Do you know who Paul is? Is there a Paul anywhere? Gus Acevedo says, "Chris Pollak wants to fight for Jackson against the Jewish people." Totally disagree with that, Gus Acevedo. I don't think Chris Pollak is against anybody. I think Chris Pollak is for fairness and for everybody being treated the same. And I think what he's fighting for is to preserve Jackson for everybody that's living in it. Again, the Jewish people a lot of the Jackson residents that I heard out of the Jewish people say that they want exactly what Chris is fighting for. They want exactly what Chris is fighting for. And I got to ask everybody, if you want exactly what Chris is fighting for, he's the only one that's delivered it. He's the only one that's been fighting for it. Everybody else that's been up there has brought you what you see happening in Jackson to this point. The mayor who's rerunning, or the interim mayor right now who's rerunning, she was on the council when all this overdevelopment was going on. She could have signed all of these ordinances that they signed last year, but they want to blame it on the past mayor. They are the ones that brought you Jackson to the point that you see now. There's another group out there, and there's one person in there that has changed that, and they're the only ones that could bring it. That's the only ones that could deliver it. Those people should be joining forces with them to fight for the Jackson that we grew up playing in high school baseball. Gus, that's the truth. What do you think? Anything to add on that, or do you even know the fight for Jackson, guys?
It's not a fight against Jewish people. It's more the fight for against maybe Jewish custom dominance, because there has to be level playing field. You can't.
I like the way you said that. It's a fight against Jewish custom dominance. That was a great way to say it. Margaret says, what people think doesn't matter as long as they pay attention to what you say. Damn right. DPW got attention. Yeah, they got rid of their Saturday overtime, a 10% cut from their budget. Justin, okay, you ready? So whether you know this or not, but the DPW guys weren't getting paid anything, and we had some guys that were on welfare working for the town. Let's just put it that way. After I brought that to light, many of those guys got a significant increase because they got a promotion. Okay, they gave them all higher ranks, and they paid them all more money. Our DPW guys worked their fucking asses off. They should be getting more. They should be getting more money. And yeah, they got rid of their Saturday overtime and a 10% cut in their budget. That is because our town is fiscally irresponsible. Has nothing to do that has to do with our budget issues. Okay, and not just the town. But if you want to call in, let's get the call-in line going here. All right, let's get the call-in line going. I think we have enough charge in this thing now. Call-in line. If you want to call in and you want to challenge me on any of those things, I look forward to it. Let's get the show line up, and there we go.
DPW does a lot, man. DPW has to do all that overnight plowing, and it's not a glamorous work.
You know that do people understand that the DPWs actually have a higher death rate than cops do in their job? The people do technically a more dangerous job. Like our DPW, there's workers right now that are working with a piece of equipment that's known to kill people, like the power vac. If you use it properly, it won't kill anybody, but people use things improperly, and it's killed people before.
Yeah, no, dude, it's no joke. I got a taste when I was in North Jersey. I worked for my county Parks and Rec for a summer. That was a fun job. But I got to see firsthand the nitty and gritty that went into it. I really had no idea.
I don't know what this guy's saying. Joe or LOL Marble says, hey, come to Bloomfield 10 a.m. September 28th. Bilford Court for a Gore boundary dispute. Landowner since 1998 on Spruce Street, and a neighbor is trying to plant a fence Adverse possession. I don't know what you're saying, man. I feel like that was like broken English. I was reading broken English. I know what you're doing. It's like how I type. It's how I text. I just don't know what you're saying. I would love to know, what you're saying. Let's see. Doesn't seem sincere. Sean Drum says doesn't seem sincere. Let me show you this part of this. Ready? Okay. So this is what I don't like about how it didn't seem sincere. Let's see. Is this where was she? Zenith 3. Okay, here it is. Walked out. Ready? This is this. Now, this is what happened. She was finished speaking, and this is what happened.
I'm going to have to respond to that. Then you bring up a slogan that
She left.
I'm going to have to respond to that. I'm going to have to respond to that. She hasn't even hit the doors yet. She took like another 5 steps towards the door and left. So when you say that, Sean, when you say that, it doesn't seem it seems disingenuous. Let's see. We got a call. Welcome to the Caltrop. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike, this is Carlitos.
Hey, Carlos. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. I wasn't going to call because I've been bothering you enough, but man, the topic you brought up with the Warrior Princess or whatever nickname you just
Xena,
and the Chris Pollak fight for Jackson, right? So let me just tell you a little bit.
Yep.
So that lady, I did have the pleasure of meeting and speaking to her, right, on a different occasion. All I can tell you is she's real, right? She's real. When she says she doesn't want overdevelopment, she doesn't want it around her house. She has a beautiful house, big pride, whatever. She does not want it. And so that's real. Her comment about fight for Jackson, right? So last year, I think you know that, I was very against what I kind of saw as fight for Jackson. That bothered me a little bit. And then all the videos and stuff. That notion of violence, right? It just felt that way. Now, I was totally wrong. Because when I got to speak to Chris, right? He's a friend of yours. He's a great guy, and that's not him. That's not him. So I just say that because that was out there. When you see fight for Jackson and the fist is up in the air and all that kind of stuff, there's that notion, that's there. But once you get to know the person, things change, and definitely I've changed. About Chris, specifically, and again, that lady, you don't know her and stuff, but she is solid. Now, she's speaking for the whole community. I can't say that for the whole community,
No, but let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question, Carlos.
Yeah, go ahead.
So do you think when she walked out, because that's what we just played, right? She was walking out.
Oh,
Chris
okay,
said, "Let me respond to that," and she had to know if she knows Chris at all, that he was going to respond to something like that, because Fight for Jackson came from him, right? So she walked out as he was saying, "Let me respond to it." That shows me that you're not really interested in the answer. You asked you asked a question, and most people were complaining that they were waiting for the end to answer the question. She asked the question and then immediately left. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. So I was there, right? The reason she left, she had gotten a phone call from her kids. Right, and she went out, and then I don't know if you saw that, she also came back, right? Came back, and it was to talk to Chris and stuff, and basically told Chris, and you probably didn't play that. Hey, I do want to talk to you. I just have to go because my kids and all this kind of stuff. And I think, and you'll see it too. Chris agreed. Yeah, let's talk afterwards. So that was it probably looks bad on video, but she didn't leave because she didn't want to hear or talk to Chris.
Okay, cool. Because that looked very disingenuous to me, bro. Because I get it. Listen, you were waiting there. Your kids are calling. You asked the question, and to me, I think you could have waited 2 minutes to hear the answer and then leave. I think because she came back and didn't hear the answer, and he answered it very eloquently. When you pop off, I want to play it.
Yeah. Okay. He did. I totally agree. And she actually did listen to it on the phone, through YouTube. But anyway, what I would just recommend is talk to Chris about that. Did they ever get to talk?
I would love to hear it. That's right. I would love to hear it. Mhm.
Yeah, because maybe there was, that happened, or at least they both said yes.
So why do you think people are against Chris when they want the exact same things he does? Like what?
I don't. Yeah, that's a great question.
Because if you really want the same exact things that he's doing, he's the only one that is shown to be able to deliver those things.
I agree. I agree. And all I could say is, speaking for myself, and I'm not an Orthodox Jew, obviously, right? Last year, I sensed, again, that the fight for Jackson thing was a dog whistle, right? A dog whistle against, hey, no, we want to fight against this community. And I was wrong. And maybe that message is still out there, because absolutely, anybody that wants to ask me of the Orthodox community, no, Chris is solid, genuine, and it's not fight against people, it's fight against everything he said and everything you guys said.
You think she holds the overwhelming belief of the community, that community in Jackson? You think the majority of people want those things, not overdevelopment and all those things? You really think the majority of Jackson really does want the same exact thing, even though they're from a different religion?
No. So that's the thing I mentioned, that, she made it sound like she was talking for the whole community. Maybe she is. I don't know. But I think that was probably, you can talk for yourself. I don't know that she has that much influence in the whole community that she can do that. But I would let her speak to that. But I agree on that point. When she said the community and we, I agree. You can speak for yourself. But yeah, anyway.
Dude, Carlos, by the way,
I couldn't help it.
By the way, when I put this up here, Carlos, I put up my Zelle, right?
Yeah.
And Carlos dropped a big. You have like when I get shirts made up, I'm buying a T-shirt press with that money. And when I get T-shirts made up, we are going to set you up with T-shirts and hats and whatever else we could get, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, if you do that, I'll donate more.
Yeah, hell yeah. Listen, you keep donating. I appreciate it, man. I am 100% like all of. Let me tell you something. If you donate to Calderese, it's definitely not going to go to feeding starving children, but it is going to go to all the startup costs to get this thing going. So merch, so we can do merch, so we can do all those things. I have a lot planned, and you definitely gave me a head start with that, bro. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's do it. Thank you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, bro. Okay. So check this out. Ready? Sorry, Rapidia. I don't want you to get lost in the weeds there, but let's play.
No, you're good.
All right. This is Chris Pollak's 2-minute response. This is something that you are going to want to listen to, and I really wish that she just turned around and listened to it and then, called her kids. But listen, you don't know what's going on. And I'm glad that Carlos said that, right? Because I don't want to get a wrong impression about anybody. And that's the impression I got. That's honestly the impression I got, that I didn't have time to listen to your answer. But this is Chris's full 2-minute, 14-second answer. Check this out.
I'm going to have to respond to that. And you bring up a slogan that was created by me and use it to in a negative fashion. I don't appreciate it. I do appreciate the message. I think it was a great message. And if you listen to me today, last meeting, and in many instances, we agree on many of the same things. And Fight for Jackson is about fighting for our community. And that's for every single person who lives here, regardless of where you come from, your religion, your ethnicity. It's about fighting against overdevelopment. It's about fighting for fairness. It's about fighting against a government that doesn't feel accountable. It's about fighting for fiscal responsibility. So, she walked away real fast because I guess she didn't want to hear what I had to say. I was very happy. No, I know it's not even, I don't even want it to be negative. I'm tired of the negative because she had a very good message and we should be getting along. And you see it from so many people tonight. It's great. And we should find more common ground. And to be honest, I'm getting along better with our council as well. And we're trying to get stuff done. And I think we're taking a lot of positive steps. Sometimes you got to go through those growing pains. And part of that process was maybe me getting elected, because a lot of people have been frustrated and haven't felt right. And I've kind of vocalized it. And we're seeing positive changes because of it. I feel like if this wasn't vocalized, if there were not these issues and that tension, it would have got a lot worse. And instead of a guy like me who cares, you might get somebody worse. So I'm happy that we are making these changes, that we are having these conversations finally. Because if this would have kept getting ignored, it'd be a hell of a lot worse. I think we're making positive differences. I'm appreciative for every person who spoke, even if you disagree. People say nasty things about me all the time. You know, where's your Klan hood, calling me a Nazi? Those are real. I don't care. It's online stuff. It doesn't bother me because I know who I am. And I know what I'm trying to do. And it's just trying to make my community better.
It's a fucking stud answer. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, dude, no, stoic. That's you. He said multiple times he doesn't want them fighting words, man. He's trying to focus on the positive. He's just trying to move things forward and make things better for the community. That's really the bottom line that I guess gets lost as we see our differences and bicker over bullshit. But you know, the central message there of fight for Jackson is it's not against a person or a group of people. It's just for, you know, preserving what Jackson's about, what Jackson's been about for years.
It's funny. It's like almost every politician says fight for something in some way. And, you know, I guess Chris, you know, being from having a martial arts background, I guess people take it as, you know, it's more violent when he says it or something like that, or the community that people thought it was being said against. But, you know, Trump got shot in the ear, stood up and said, fight, 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 you know, so it's like, we pick and choose, I think, what we choose to buy into. And I think it's all the way the narrative's being presented. You know, Carlos said that he got that impression that it was a violent impression. And I think that's because the way Chris was spoken about. You know, and everybody forgets this. Like, we want to, like, a lot of these people at that Jackson meeting and all these other meetings, and when you have different groups, they talk about how there's, you know, Facebook comments and all these comments on Facebook and all these things, and you guys don't police the comments that well, blah, 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 where it's like, I've been called Hitler. You know, like, I've literally been called fucking Hitler. And the way Chris has been through that, he had everything negative said. Everything that you could possibly call this dude, they have said to him in some way, shape, or form, and he didn't call the cops. He didn't cry about it. He just kept on going the way Chris knows how to keep on going. And, you know, I think you saw a lot of that still at that Jackson meeting. You saw a lot of crying. You saw a lot of bullshit. But less thoughts on that, bro.
It's hard to stick true to what you believe in when you get a lot of voices of opposition or people trying to divide, you know, you from someone else. So all the praise to Chris for, you know, just the answer he gave, just staying level-headed, and he brought up still trying to find common ground and just trying to make things work. So it's not easy to do that. He said he even said he was called Hitler too. So he's dealing with a lot of hate coming his way.
You know, it's funny because when they run up to me, they always bring up Chris's name, and Chris tells me the same thing. When people run into him, they bring up my name. Me and him are linked, like, very similarly. You know, it's like they go, "I love what you're doing. I love what Pollak's doing." Blah blah blah. Like, we have the same group of people following us, but we have been called the exact same things, the exact same things. But check this out: your boy was brought up twice, and this is what got me thinking about, like, this is paying off, man. You know, and it's not just me getting call outs here. The fact that I am being referenced and the show is being referenced and things are happening, and I get a call out by a council president and a random ass guy speaking. We're to call him let's call him Magic Mike, because he liked it's not a gay reference. Oh, sorry. I guess we do. So Magic on the mic. We're going to call him Magic on the mic, because he was actually, like, quoting a lot of song lyrics. But this is him bringing up your boy.
There was a gentleman that spoke earlier tonight, a young gentleman. There was that girl B. She's in the back. She spoke this meeting. So impressive, right? She spoke last week too and got a round of applause. And I think even Mike Calderese, right, he awarded her best in show on his recap the night after. That reminded me of a lyric.
See, then you reminded me of a lyric. So he tossed your boy's name out there. So we're getting some love by the commentary, and everybody, I'm here to announce to the world that I have a new friend, and I'm very that this touched my heart.
There's a couple of like rumors I just wanted to dispel or just to talk about because I don't like getting personal here, but it just bothered me. So I, by the last meeting, made a conscious decision. I was going to take notes. My head was down most of the meeting. And I think most people who knew me knew that's what I was doing. It was my easiest way of keeping track. There was a gentleman who came from Brick, who I wasn't planning on naming because I figured everyone here in Jackson knows him. And he's actually a friend of mine. I spoke to him last night on the phone for a while. I've been to his house and we disagree on a lot of things passionately, but I consider him a friend and he doesn't always support things politically that I support. So he came up, and for anyone who was questioning it, that was not disrespect. I think he understood where I was coming from. I was cracking a joke. I try to crack jokes sometimes. Anyone who knows me well knows that's what I do. But
so just to give you some background on this, Rickpedia. I don't know if you saw the video, but when I went up to speak, there was a lot of people there. So what Morty's been doing, I got to tell you something. And everybody can say what they want. Morty is a very, very, very good council president. Okay, I watched a lot of these meetings. He does a very good job of answering the questions the best he possibly can. He actually goes above and beyond, if you ask me, compared to some of these people. He runs a very good meeting. He doesn't allow himself to get posterized. He is definitely taking in what you're saying, and the guy is a very smart fucking dude. But what happened was when I went up to speak, there was a lot of people that didn't want to give their names. But what Morty was doing was saying, can you at least give me a first name so I could reference your question? Because he was head down taking notes of when you were talking. Like he was writing, trying to answer everybody's questions. And he did something, actually, a little sidebar. He did something really cool at this last meeting. Instead of answering all the questions at the end, they had like 4 people talk, and then he answered questions. 4 people, I think that's a way better format. But Morty did a good job with that. But when I walked up, he said, you don't have to say your name. So I said my name. People cheered. And then when I said my name, he said, okay, he said his name. And it sounded like he was a douchebag on that video. And I've clarified a bunch of times. I didn't take it like that. He was smiling at me. He was saying that I took it as we all know who you are on the dais. You don't need to tell us who you are. We all know who you are. Okay. That's the way I took it. But he was getting a lot of shit for it. Right. So people were coming up to him telling him he was very rude to me, blah, 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 to the point where he messaged me about it and made this statement. Now, I will tell you, everything he said is right, dude. I think Morty is a very engaging dude. I definitely invited him over to the house. When Chris Pollak was here, he sat down. We had a blast with the guy. It is somebody I could be friends with. He is a personality. He's a smart guy. Good conversation. We definitely don't agree. And he was sitting there. But I have a new friend, Rickpedia. What do you think?
I think you're doing all the right things, man. You're walking the walk and talking the talk, Mike. You're not scared to express your opinion, but you're also able to break bread with someone who might share a different one, because that's a big problem with people.
Is this my first step to being a Jew lover, though?
I wouldn't go that far. But the willingness to share time and ideas with each other is really what this is all about, man. I mean, just fearlessly expressing yourself, I feel like, is what's being a caltrop is really all about. That's what draws me to being a guest on your show, man. Because I don't do enough. Like you and Carlos actually going on these meetings and getting yourselves involved to the point of notoriety. I'm not there. I analyze these social and political issues, and I have my opinions, and I choose to use my spending power in the ways that I think are beneficial for myself and the community. But more people need to be doing what you're doing and stepping up and speaking out, man. That's righteous. There's no other way around it. I hope that this friendship of yours can shed some light to the haters about how you are not the strange mustached man.
I'm not a hater, man. Thomas Dick rolls. This guy still has my favorite Favorite name of all time. And listen, when I put comments up, sometimes the comments get left up for like minutes because I forget to take them down. I'm running all this by myself, everybody. All right. My kid said the same thing when someone's with someone's prosthetic leg. Why does he have a robot leg? It's so innocent. He's got magic shoes. I got my magic shoes. So let's see. LOL Marble. Is that LOL Marble? It comes from the rabbi. You know it. Everything comes from the rabbi. That's for sure. Amen, Disker. We could say the same thing for Morty, correct? Shit, I'm too far ahead. Amen, Disker. What can we say about Morty? Put it in the chat. Chris is spot on. Chris is fucking 100%.
That was a great response. Yeah.
Michael, new name in the chat. I think I don't even think I read him out. Michael, say who? Ready? You want to try saying his last name? Is it Truciano?
Trusano.
How would you say it?
Trusano.
Trusano. You said it way better than I did. The Jackson Mayor got to go. She's spineless jellyfish who can't take the heat, and she's proved it over and over and over again.
She's jellyfish.
I think that's 100%. She's mashed potatoes. She's mashed potatoes. She's as soft as baby shit, is what that guy said. I didn't say it. My man Truciano said right that time. Truciano, you fucking Irish.
Forget about it.
Hey, that bitch. Hey, put her in the fucking bedroom, okay? Put her in the fucking bedroom. Amen, Disker. I had a Jewish man come down the street. That sounds like, was he chasing a penny? No, I'm fucking around. As I'm putting my kids in the car to leave, he blocks the driveway and blocks me from leaving while dropping off his child at the house next to me. That house next to you, Amen, Disker, has got to be a daycare, and you fucking know it. It's funny how they block your driveway. You are the like the 900th person that has told me that has happened. You could bet your ass he got some rocks kicked up on his car after I left. Dude, this is what we got to do. We got to give Amen Disker some advice. This is what you do. You go ahead and you get yourself a slang shot. And when they park your car in front of your driveway, you just fucking you leave them with lumps and dents and bruises all over that car. Just start crushing fucking cars, crushing rocks at it. Amen, Disker. What do you think? You like that? There you go.
I got one right here. I'm ready.
You never leave home without it, man. You start flinging rocks at cars, they're going to be moving them. They're not going to park in front of your car
These
again.
things are giant killers, baby. Come on.
LR says the DPW has to watch their weight. I feel bad for some of them. Yeah. Hey, man, this is what happens when you're in the truck and you're working and you eat nasty shit all the damn time. Can't afford food. You eat some cheap-ass shit, bro. What do you think people eat? They eat ramen noodles, man. That's what they're eating on their little hot plate. You fucking
deli subs, Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, dude, look at all the cops. Not all the cops. A lot of cops are in shape because they get paid well. Let's see. Guinea says, are non-Jewish people allowed to shop at Orthodox Jewish stores? They do shop at Costco, Walmart, where they enjoy the return policies in these stores. Yes, you do. The problem is, do you want to buy the Jewish dresses? If you dress like them, you could shop in their stores. If I was going to look for one of those giant Russian Jewish hats, you know what I'm saying? Those
bird nest Johns.
I would have to go into their stores. Now, I don't think they would sell me one of those hats. I would really love to have one, Guinea. But no, I mean, you can go into the grocery stores. Dude, have you walked into a gourmet lot? They're fucking really nice. The one in Jackson's really nice. The problem is I can't get everything that I want there. But their meat is kosher. I mean, it's really good food. Everything is good. The ingredients are really good. For all you guys that worry about what ingredients are in your food, the ingredients there is all very good. You know, if you're going to be a fat Jewish dude, you really have to overeat. Like Avi Chanel, overeats. And Fine, or the Randy Fine out in Florida. I mean, those dudes eat way too much kosher food. I think they're dipping in the fucking sausage. What do you think?
Yeah, they might be dabbling in the goy slop to get to that size. So,
Fernando, I like this guy's fucking name. Another new name. Fernando Pimenta says, how do you move into a town and start making your own rules because of your religion? If you don't like the laws and the rules of Jackson, don't move into Jackson. You want to touch on that, Rick?
Well, I mean, I just want to circle back to, I guess, what I said earlier. There should be no group that exerts any sort of dominance over the general market of a community or the general lifestyle of a community. So I don't care what religion or group you're from, no matter what it is. In our area, we're talking about like the Jewish culture like takeover, I guess, but in other parts of the country, it's other ones as well. And this is the melting pot. We've allowed it it's gotten a little crazy. It's got maybe a little too melted, but we still should be accepting of everybody's right to express themselves, and we shouldn't be just muscling out or discriminating upon others.
Yeah, and that's really what's taking place. Sarah says, I was at the meeting. She did come back in and she said she had a call from her kids. Okay. But she missed what Chris said. And I agree that he responded perfectly. I agree the first part of what he said, but maybe she should have a conversation with the Fight for Jackson team to learn what they're truly asking for. I do get it. Yeah, listen, if my kids were calling, I would be going to, and I know she probably has young kids because she looked young. That's not saying anything wrong, but she looked like a younger person, so she probably had younger kids. And I get the idea. I appreciate everybody clarifying that, because I was really, when I watched her run out of the meeting, that was like, that really fucking turned me off. So I'm glad everybody is well,
but yes and no. I mean, even you can wait a minute and hear the response of what you just said.
You actually waited long to say it, and she spoke for 4 minutes.
I have, that's what I'm saying. I have a kid, and I care about her. That's my life. You know what I mean? I care about her more than anything in the whole world. But I can call you back in another minute or two.
In a minute.
If I said something important.
Yeah, I would have listened to the answer because I asked it. I would ask, okay, now I'm done, and then I would have dealt with my kids, and then go back into it. But listen, we could. I'm not telling her, how she should do that, but I appreciate everybody saying it. Incognito says, always hated that saying, you can't fight City Hall, fight for Jackson. And that's the funny part. Well, you can't fight it. You can't fight it until somebody says, fight for it. And then that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, you can't fight for it, you asshole. And I think that's the whole point of what we're trying to say.
I think we also forget that, like 200 years ago, if you had lawmakers that were not appeasing the interests of the common populace, they just gone, done. You did.
And Justin says, you going to dinner at Morty's kosher buffet, dude? I have if it's meat, I will eat it, man. If it's meat of some kind, whether it's now, I don't eat fish. All right. And I'm not sure I would do like alligator or snake or any of that stuff. But if you have beef, hot dogs, I do work for Jewish people, man. And I've had all different types of things made for me. They've made me lunch. I will eat anything. I will drink anything like that. Like especially drink. I would probably drink more things than I would eat and chew. Right. What do you think about that?
Well, no pork on my fork. So I think I can agree with them on that.
Oh, there's no pork on your fork. Interesting. I have pork every morning, bro. I think that's
it's delicious. I just choose to not eat it.
No, that's good. Good for you. I'll eat all the pork for you. Right? Margaret says it's difficult not to have widespread negativity when dealing with any group of people who, when they don't get to their way, they resort to bullying and threatening to sue. And we have watched it happen. That's a great point. Margaret, everyone's entitled to their own religion and way of thinking, but you can't cram it down other people's throats. Every action causes a reaction. And it's not always a good one. That's not hate. It's self-preservation. Hey, man, Margaret, that is a absolute great comment. You know what you do? You had this is the truth, Margaret. This is what I think you should do. You should have a daughter who runs for mayor in Manchester. Wait a second. You do have a daughter that's running for mayor in Manchester, if you didn't know that. Yes, if you did not know that, Manchester, my Manchester peeps, make sure you check her out. She's usually in the comments, but look at that. Pro cop for mayor of Manchester, New Jersey. Let me tell you something. She got off her ass, and she's also doing something too. I talked about the three of us. She's someone that said, hell, I want to get involved. So check out Mariah Pro Cop, dude, for mayor. Check her out. Amen. Disker's laughing at us. She's laughing at us. I think she's laughing at us in a good way. Right?
She's laughing with us.
She said, I was so mad, Amen Disker, but I was laughing. And he hasn't done it since. All right, Slang Shot. man. Slang shot. Have you ever seen that Texas cop? I love that he's talking about Black Lives Matter. That's where that came from. You ever see that, Wikipedia?
What?
I
I got my ammo too, baby.
It was a Texas cop that was saying that. And he goes, let me tell you what you do. You see them Black Lives Matters in your town, you go get you a slang shot. Nobody ever went to jail in Texas over no dang slang shot. Okay, you get you a slang shot and you pepper them with rocks. You pick up them rocks and you just leave them lumped up like they got the damn measles. That's exactly, I think, of what that motherfucker said. And it was great. Go get you a slang shot. And the way he says slang, slang shot. If you are female, give him a hug and say, I thought you were. I love it. That's a good story about the returns. Awesome. I wish I could remember. What are we talking? I'm too late, right? Do you remember what we're talking about? If you know, jump in. Aneth, another dude. That's an awesome new name in the chat. Aneth Abel says Bernstein has alternative motives only geared to one community for greater Jackson Township. Hey, Aneth, I totally agree with you, and that's the question I asked about sincerity, right? Because it takes sincerity. I have to know you really want the same things I want to do if I'm going to be working with you on a good faith basis. If I think that we make this deal and then 2 years later, 3 years later, we outnumber you, go fuck you, we're going to outvote you and just do what we want anyway. And all we're doing right now is appeasing you. I think that's bad, right? Thoughts on that?
Well, I just want to circle back to the returns thing. I think someone made a comment about how there's a lot of Orthodox Jewish community that shops at like Walmart and Costco and uses their return policy. I think that's what they were referencing, which is not something that we talked about in depth, but it was mentioned,
I've seen them return everything. I mean, return everything. Like worn ass tires that have 100,000 miles on it. It's like, I like to return these. It's like, you can't. They're worn ass tires, and now we gotta return them. So I love it. Takeovers are popular. That's for fucking damn sure. Justin says it's like the modern day mafia. They want to create a mob town. Yeah, and the difference is, if it was Italian, they would have been shut down. I mean, that's just the reality. I'm going to get to everybody's chat here, and my thing's not working. What are you doing to me? All right, let's see everybody's chat. I'm going to read them all today. I think it's aversion. I think it's the aversion to participating in the taxpayer problem in New Jersey. Yeah, man. I think everybody has an aversion to speaking up and fighting back because I really do believe that everybody thinks that there's absolutely nothing you could do. That's why I want to hammer that today. Are your bricks kosher, Mike Preicha? I can't fucking read names. Preichka. Mike Preichka. Are my bricks kosher? You know what? I don't think I don't think so. I don't think so. My bricks have dirty, greasy Italian hands on top of them. I don't think that. I have way too much pork in my system for my bricks to be kosher, right? Oh man, Amen Disker says that's me. I love it, Margaret. I absolutely do. Any questions, guys? Rick is Frankenstein and Big Daddy. What with that thing? Rick is Frankenstein and Big Daddy? You're
Frankenstein. The kid kills all the pigeons. They give him a slingshot. He goes on the roof and kills all the pigeons.
That's right.
Hey man, I'm lethal. Hey, listen, I'm lethal with this thing. I use it for good. I use it for self-defense purposes. But
that's a great movie line. Amanda, wait, good job. Amen Disker comes in hard. She says, I'm so glad you're finally getting the names right, Mike. It means mine is special. Yours is special. Yours is 100% special. And
it'll become even more special if you do what Mike does and show up to these meetings and speak out. That's really important.
And what you're missing is I was sounding your name out when I was reading it. So it's like, Amen Disker. That's how I was. I think I sounded it out properly. The problem is I didn't group the names, the names properly. You got to look at Aneth says, I've seen one try to return a wine bottle that they broke the cork in and they got to return. Yeah, man, dude. Everyone, when you see one of them coming, you just say, fuck, I'm not dealing with this tonight. We're going to move on here. But what do you think, Rick, dude? You hit some local topics with us. Usually when Rickpedia comes on, we get in some awesome conspiracies. Next time we'll do that. Next time you're on, we'll do another Conspiracy Friday night with Rick. But dude, I love that you spent the Friday when you went through like a normal Caltrop show. You know, the way because it's usually like I said, usually conspiracy filled. It wasn't like that this time. What'd you think, bro?
Dude, totally fine. It's more than fine. I'll say it again, man. You got to clip either the whole thing or the majority of that monologue today, man. People need to hear that, dude, because we've been programmed for to live in scarcity and disempowerment and isolation. And, you know, we're called the United States, but we couldn't be more divided. And if one person can step up, if three people can step up, like to your point, man, hundreds, thousands, millions can. We just have to have the proper motivation. We are people. We're people who just naturally want to group and connect. And whether people want to admit that or not, we seek community, common unity, and that's what we need. And we need more people to give a shit. You know, if enough people, I've been saying this for years, if enough people can get pissed off about the same thing at the same time, that's how you cause change. And I'm not saying to go to these meetings as a complainer. You have to go like in the right mindset, which you guys had, which is addressing the problem, stating the actions or reactions, but providing a solution. And, you know, right now, a lot of systems in our state, county, country are broken, but it's not beyond repair. And unfortunately, a lot of people think it is. So the message has to be spread that
there's a lot of solutions out there, Rickpedia. Yeah. There's people what I watch is when people come together, you see the solutions happen when they're not even working towards it. You know, you see the magic happen at these planning board meetings when people get up and they hit their own point in a way where they make a total case for what they want. And none of them planned it and said, you take this, you take this, you take this, you take this. They all just said, this is what I'm going to do because this is what I do well, and approached it from a different angle, and it all worked together. And I think that's important.
Yeah. The only way to find solutions for common societal problems is to identify that they are common. People don't realize that they might be after the same things because they've been disconnected from each other based on preconceived notions, ethnic, cultural, religious differences. But really, I think we all have a lot of the same baseline needs, and we just don't realize it.
And we don't realize it, bro. Rickpedia, it's always a great time having you, man. Everybody, I really appreciate it. If you like the show tonight, do me a favor, Finger Blast Fridays. Finger blast my like button, man. I really appreciate you guys. All of you, everybody that shares this, everybody that's donated, everybody that follows me, every one of you guys that see me in the streets, it's overwhelming. I'm getting recognized on my job sites. My wife got recognized renting a saw for me. It's really getting to an awesome place, man. And you guys are doing it. You guys are the ones that have pushed me here. And I mean, I'm going to be eternally grateful always for you. So I want you to do yourself a favor. Celebrate along with me this weekend. This is a weekend of celebration. This is a weekend of being happy. This is a weekend of being positive. No matter what doubt you had in your mind over this week, I want you to go into this weekend knowing that this next week is going to be fucking awesome. That whatever challenges you're going to have, you're going to be able to face them, and you're going to be able to face them and be successful in that. And you're going to continue to grow and continue to get better, and we're all going to make this place better. We're all going to do it together, because that's really what this is all about, man. You know, fighting for your place is like fighting for your life. And, you know, you don't have to be in a life or death situation to fight for your life. When you fight for your own life, you're fighting for who you are as a person, your life, your lifestyle, your friends, your family, your community. And to me, we should all be fighting for the best versions of ourselves, right? I want to be the best version of myself in my community, in the best version of my community. And we should all be fighting for that. I think that's something worth fighting for. Thank you guys very much. Caltrops, fight for what they want. Be a Caltrop in your own mind. This Caltrop will be back on Monday. And maybe we'll have Rickpedia. I don't know if you're on next Friday, but we'll have maybe Rickpedia next Friday. But we will be back if you have this great weekend on Monday. Thank you guys very much. This Caltrop is out. Later.
So